Hey, welcome back. I know I had told you that we were going to cut in on the start of the impeachment hearings, but it seems that they've already taken a little break. As soon as the senators come back in chamber, we're going to take you down to Washington. I do want to point out to you that if you're watching that Apex commercial there, InvestView is one of our sponsors, great friends of the show. And they have an amazing new passive income wealth generation product that you may want to know more about. Check out the Newsmax sent me at apex.com to find out more information on a great new product that can show you how to profit from the new digital economy and big data and all that great stuff. We'll be bringing you more on that throughout the next couple of months, but there's tremendous opportunity there. Tremendous opportunity for us right here while we're waiting for the senators to return to bring you what's happening with breaking news and all that other great stuff. And Frankie's over there at the news desk.
Yes, that's right, John. Very interesting. President Trump is apparently confirming plans to expand his travel ban. Now, this was something that we heard a great deal about a while ago, but now the president has told the Wall Street Journal in an interview in Davos this morning that he's looking to add more countries to the list of the places that you wouldn't be able to come to the United States from, although he did not yet specify which ones. Now, you remember the Supreme Court in a 5-4 ruling held up a previous version of the ban that blocked nationals from Libya, Iran, Syria, Somalia, and Yemen. Now the president is saying he wants to add some more countries. I'll tell you what country I'd like added, Saudi Arabia, so that they can stop killing people at American military bases.
Yeah, it does seem more and more often that, you know, the origin or the nation of origin of the people who try to do the most heinous things to us here in America is over in Saudi Arabia. And
well, look, there are bad people everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And good people
but I'm
everywhere.
saying,
the difference is it seems like the Saudi government is a little too willing to help the bad people do bad things.
Yeah.
You know, you don't get the sense that a lot of these other governments are as, you know, Libya is basically a state with no government. It's basically a haven for terrorists.
Lawless
Saudi
society.
Arabia, there's actually a real government that has a pretty firm clasp on what their citizens are doing.
I'm still, you know, stricken psychologically and mentally from being on the ground just a couple blocks away from the Twin Towers on that fateful day of 9/11. And pretty much the majority of the people who did it were Saudi nationals. So I'll always kind of use that as my frame of reference because just recently we were training some Saudis here on a base in America, and one of them went postal and shot up a bunch of people also. So I wouldn't mind that. But I do like the president continuing to take it to our enemies and say, hey, if we look at you and we think you're coming here to do harm, we're going to ban you. And the Supreme Court, thank God for President Trump. Because when he came in, we were at a crossroads in America. And those two vacancies on the Supreme Court, Neil Gorsuch and, of course, Brett Kavanaugh, they've moved the court in the favor of Republican sanity, if you ask me, and upholding the travel ban was just one of many great things the president's appointees and the whole Supreme Court have done. And let's hope when the president's abroad, when he's over in Davos with all these world leaders, he can talk some sense into them. And, you know, when he gets over there now, and everybody's standing at attention because they know if they're an enemy of the U.S. and they act a little crazy, there's a very good chance that there may be a drone strike in their near future, like we took out General Soleimani. So I think the president's in a pretty strong posture right now as he's over in Davos. And, you know, hopefully it doesn't affect great people. There's great people in many of these countries, but, you know, the bad apples in every bunch kind of make it really hard to determine who they are.
Speaking of the Supreme Court, John, the Supreme Court has ruled that residents of Flint, Michigan can sue over tainted water. They gave the go-ahead to this civil rights lawsuit against city and government officials over lead contamination in the city's water supply. So we'll see where that goes going forward.
Well, God bless those people there in Flint. I mean, you know, I know there's a documentary out there about the water in Flint, but it just seems that, you know, these this lower income area was really stricken over the years with very little care or consideration for the folks that live there. And if there's a cause of action, I'm sure our justice system will figure it out, and some great lawyers will fight it out. And the people that have been harmed, injured, they deserve our criminal justice system and our court system to make it right.
Well, speaking of Davos, the president spoke early this morning. It was around 6 o'clock Eastern time at the World Economic Forum. Here's a little bit of what the president said this morning about the American economy and its place within the worldwide economy. Have a listen.
Today, I hold up the American model as an example to the world of a working system of free enterprise that will produce the most benefits for the most people in the 21st century and beyond. A pro-worker, pro-citizen, pro-family agenda demonstrates how a nation can thrive when its communities, its companies, its government, and its people work together for the good of the whole nation.
It is absolutely a blue-collar boom in America, and many people have said that Donald Trump really, really dialed into the heart and soul of blue-collar America and was speaking their language and talking about jobs and job creation and reducing regulation. That resonated. Unemployment is low, household income is up, and all those blue-collar folks who Donald Trump was talking to, they seem to have got what they want.
All right, and John, we were talking a little earlier about this interview that Hillary Clinton has done with The Hollywood Reporter, and so she certainly said some explosive things about Bernie Sanders and Monica Lewinsky, but she also had some very interesting remarks about Harvey Weinstein. She was asked if she had any regrets about her previous relationship with Harvey Weinstein. Her response was, how could we have known? It made sense at the time. He raised money for the Obamas, the Democrats in general, and at the time, that was something that everybody thought made sense. And of course, if all of us had known what we know now, it would have affected our behavior. Now, the interesting thing about this, John,
they knew,
is we now know that Tina Brown, prominent magazine editor, not considered a conservative by any means, and actress Lena Dunham, both cautioned Clinton's team about Harvey Weinstein and his treatment of women. So it strikes me, if this explanation is what she's sticking with, as a situation where she was going, no, I don't want to hear that.
She's lying. Yeah. She's lying, and we know it. And that's why Trump named her right, Crooked Hillary. They knew darn well what was happening. You know what's happening. You're watching Liquid Lunch, the #1 daytime show, in my opinion, if I must pat myself back, on the fastest growing network in cable television in America. We're going to be back right after this with nationally syndicated radio host and my great friend, Kevin McCullough, right after this.